Hey guys, it's Jeff once again here with Community-Werx and our Community-Werx program highlighting the nonprofits and community organizations within our community. These are one of my favorite things to do every week because we have some amazing organizations in our community that are out there, and quite often they toil away and nobody even knows that they exist, or they don't really get the spotlight a lot. And we're trying to just give them a spotlight, and hopefully if there are some things that resonate with you and you feel like, man, I really want to do that, then we're giving you a contact person who knows, or you know, that you can go there and help out from a volunteer standpoint, monetary, whatever. So once again, right down below me is our subscription button. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel because these things come out constantly, and make sure you connect with us on our social media, on our Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, everything, because we'll be blasting these things out every week. So, awesome. I have Miss Tiesa with Hill Country Community Ministries. And tell us a little bit about what y'all do.
So Hill Country Community Ministries is a food pantry, clothes closet, and resource center.
Okay.
We serve Western Williamson County and Northwest Travis County.
Right.
We serve 10 zip codes.
Wow.
So we serve, our serving area starts at the north side of Liberty Hill, Leander, Cedar Park.
Okay.
We go out to Jonestown, Lago Vista, and we serve pretty much all up and down 183.
Big area.
Huge area. Huge, yes, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So how many people do you serve on a weekly basis?
So weekly, it kind of depends. We just usually do the monthly numbers for us because we're open 5 days a week.
Okay.
We serve about 2,000 people a month.
Wow.
I know.
That's awesome.
It is crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So typically, what would they be coming to you for? You know.
Typically, right from the get-go is basic needs.
Okay.
You know, one of the questions I get asked almost every day is, who do you serve? And I tell people, it's like, you know, we're going to serve our seniors. We're going to serve our disabled because they're on fixed, limited income.
Sure.
Absolutely. But most of the people that I see every application that comes to the door, and most of the people that we see are people that have lost a job.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things, I did a presentation, you know, at the Cedar Park Chamber a couple months ago, and I was able to say, you know, how many people have lost a job? You know, I've lost a job.
Half the room.
I know. How many of you have lost a spouse through a death or a divorce? And, you know, and I raised my hand. I was divorced. I came here in 1999 with 2 kids, 2 cats, and a dog, you know, and I didn't have a lot of money.
Yeah.
I was broke, bankrupt,
single mom.
and divorced. Yeah. Broke, bankrupt, and divorced, all in one, you know. And then the other aspect is how many people have faced a crisis, a medical crisis, or any crisis for that matter, that, you know, you've got a stack of bills sitting on your desktop, and, you know, and you're sitting there, and it's the first of the month, and you're like, do I pay my rent? Do I keep the lights on? Do I pay these expenses, or do I put food on the table?
Yeah.
And, you know, unfortunately for us, we get to help with that. You know, people come to us to get food and groceries. We provide about 2 weeks worth of groceries.
Nice.
Yeah, and so what that does is a family of like 1 to 3, it saves them nearly $200 a month. Yeah, and so that's a huge thing. They can pay their electric bill or water bill or whatever. So
that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, how did you get involved?
It's a fun story. I call it my leap of faith.
Okay.
And I've shared it many times because I was in a completely different industry for 16 years. I've been in pretty much a sales and marketing position for 25 years.
Okay.
And I decided about 2.5 years ago I was ready for a change. Didn't know what that looked like. Didn't really know, you know, I just wasn't, you know, having fun. I always tell my kids, have fun with what you do.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter what you do, have fun with it. If you have fun with it, then it's not work. I mean, we hear that all the time.
Yep.
But in certain times of your life, you kind of have to do the things that are right for you, for your family, or whatever it is, to put, you know, food on the table, or whatever that may be. But for me, I was in an industry for probably about 8 years. I had changed companies thinking I would reinvigorate this fun that I used to have. And I just wasn't
Grass isn't always greener.
No, it's not. I lasted a little over a year, and I had some pretty tough conversations, but I'd been pretty miserable for about 4 or 5 months, and my husband was like, quit your job, and I was like, it's not time. It really wasn't time. I kept saying, not the right time, not the right time. And then finally, a conversation prompted me to turn in my 2-week notice. And in corporate America, they said, not good enough, pack your things and leave immediately.
Okay.
And, you know, and I was just like, and I will say, selfishly, I thought I would have 2 weeks to go find a job. I didn't have it. No. So I found myself not having a job. I had to pack my things and leave immediately. But I took, and I say the leap of faith is, I literally felt like I was jumping off this cliff, free falling, but I knew God had a net down there for me. I knew that there was going to be a net, and I was going to fall somewhere, and I was going to be okay. Yeah. Because again, remind you, I've lost a job before.
Been there, done that.
Been broke, bankrupt, divorce. I mean, it's like I've had to start over not once in my life, but twice in my life. So fortunately, at this age, I kind of was like, I know I'd be okay.
I got this.
It'd be okay. And 2 days later, I had my first phone call to interview.
Okay.
Would you like to interview with Hill Country Community Ministries? I had heard about the previous executive director retiring months prior. Okay. I think I had submitted my resume a couple months prior to that, but not had heard a peep. And then, like I said, 2 days after I resigned, packed up my stuff and left. I said,
somebody had a plan for you.
Somebody had a plan for me. Sorry, I've got the allergy thing going on. So in October 2015, I started at Hill Country Community Ministries as the executive director, and I love it. I mean, it's crazy that it's been 2.5 years, but I really love it, and I have such a passion for it because, again, life and life circumstances has put me in positions in my life where I've needed things like this.
And you can relate.
I can absolutely relate. I've had, you know, people that have confronted me. It's like, you don't know what it's like. I'm like, yes.
Yeah, actually, I do.
I do, you know. I mean, and, you know, like I said, not once or twice. I've done it twice in my life where I've just completely had to start all over. But I always had the drive to know that I wanted something better for myself, something better for my children. And I always just worked hard and just pushed through it. But it's places like mine, you know, like Hill Country Community Ministries and some of the other social services out there that allowed me to put food on my table.
Sure.
You know, my kids didn't have to go hungry. But I will share this. It also reminds me, and I tell people all the time, and that's why all of the volunteers for any nonprofit organization that provides a service that we do, is one of the hardest things for people to do is walk through our doors and ask for help.
Yep.
It is extremely humbling.
Sure.
There's no doubt about it. It is hard. But that we do it, and our volunteers are awesome, and kindness and with respect. I get a ton of compliments about how people felt so good when they left, felt encouraged and had hope, and just knew that this may be temporary. And most of the people that come see us are in transition. Sure. It's transition.
Well, but knowing that point that, okay, I know that we're not going to go hungry.
For sure.
You know, it's, okay, right. I know that basic need is taken care of. Okay, now I can, you know, and maybe you give them some connections. So why don't we talk a little bit about that? Yeah. How do you work with the other nonprofits? Because I think that's the greatest hidden thing about our nonprofit and community organization community here in Cedar Park especially. Yeah. How do y'all work together?
So for us, Hill Country Community Ministries has been around for about 35 years, and so we have a very strong foundation. But with the growth and things like this are awesome, because with the growth, it's hard to keep up with. How do people get services if they have that need? You know, we do a lot of social media, and we have a website and stuff. But it amazes me that people still are like, I didn't have a clue you were here, or whatever. But so that being said, we're open 5 days a week. We've been around for 35 years. We do provide food. We provide clothing. We have additional resources like vision vouchers, dental assistance. Okay. We have our big shoe program coming this summer, Laces for Leander. Yes, we work with Leander ISD schools, and Lago Vista did one a couple years ago, and I think they're going to do another one. And I've got a couple other school districts interested, but that's the new shoe program. Okay. What started out was a fun idea about, you know, what child doesn't want to start school with a brand new pair of shoes. Sure. Yep. You know, has transformed into, we actually have students in our schools failing PE because they don't have a pair of tennis shoes. I know.
And it's a simple need to fix.
Yes. You know, but, I mean, I was the oldest of 6 kids. And I didn't have new shoes. I mean, I specifically remember my very first pair of Nikes, you know, and I wasn't until I was junior high. And those were the bomb.
Those were your, this is mine, that nobody else has ever worn these.
Absolutely. So, you know, so we have those programs, but what we do is when people come in, anybody could come in off the streets
Okay.
and ask for food. And you know, when I say we serve that area, anybody can come in and you know, receive food, what we call emergency food. Then typically, depending on where they live, we will refer them to like Caring Place in Georgetown, Round Rock Area Serving Center, or other areas that have also resource centers that can provide those additional needs. So we'll refer them, for one, so they don't have to travel to us. You know, for another, they also, when people donate, sometimes people are like, I want to give to the community I live in. You know, and which is important, you know, but that's it, again, it's just, it helps use our resources for our local communities, but then the collaboration piece of it, like you were talking about. So we work with Samaritan Health. We serve people that need medical and dental. We send them to them. You know, Reveal Resource Center, Brighter Days Food Pantry. Those Reveal has now on Monday night. We're not open Monday nights. We're not open Wednesday nights. You know, Brighter Days does Monday or Wednesday nights. So we refer them if they need the additional food beyond what we can give them. Again, we give them 2 weeks worth of food, but then we put it beyond then. We do a lot with Heroes Night Out because a lot of those vets go there for veteran services, but then they come to us to receive food as well, among some of the other things.
And
that we do.
they're hurting. That okay, I'm trying to I'm trying to figure out how to go from being in the military to having a job, and how do I get on my feet?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll share an example. We had a woman this past year that came to us through Heroes Night Out, and she was the vet, and her husband had his third surgery. They have 4 children. She works a full-time job. She makes really good money, but that crisis that we talked about, you don't have to live poor to have a crisis to come see us. You know, and what she did is she came. You know, Wes and Judy called me and they said, "Hey, we have this family really could need the additional help," and so they came and we met with them. She brought her medical bills because we asked them to bring proof. You know, like if you tell me you have 10 children and we're going to provide services from 10 children,
I need to make sure.
I need to know you have 10 children, exactly. But that being said, you know, she comes in with the documentations we require, and that's to receive things beyond food. But she had a stack of medical bills this big. And over Thanksgiving, you know, I got the sweetest note from her that she was just so grateful because we get to help alleviate at least being able to do that, being able to put the food on the table. You know, during the winter time, we give out coats and blankets. You know, during the summers, we'll give out our summer fan drive. We are a preferred partner with Austin Diaper Bank. So we also provide diapers, you know, so we work with like our Head Starts and our Acts of Love. There's an organization called Acts of Love that provides daycare for teen moms that are still going to school. So those are the collaborations. When somebody can pick up the phone and say, hey, do you have a need? You know, can you provide this resource? Do you have this other need? That is
and then they're not having to try and go out there and find all those resources. You know where the resources are. And
most of the time, yes.
You do your best to be able to figure that out. But once you're used to working with other organizations, and you know what they can do and you can't. And,
for sure. Absolutely.
But I think that's, you know, that was the conversation we were having before we turned the camera on. You know, there's, in so many communities, the nonprofit organizations, it's like an us or them. You know, it's not a zero-sum game. You know, that, okay, if I help this client or send this someplace else, then we're going to lose funding or something like that. That's not what happens.
No, I mean, not based on my life. No, not in the last 2.5 years that I've been there, because for me, and again, it goes back to sales and marketing. I was in sales and marketing for 25 years, and I wasn't that one person, single man show, you know, all about me. I was like, let's, as a team, how can we work best together? Because you can go further faster when you work together. And sometimes, and I admit it, you know, I say it's hard when I hear this person won $10,000 that I had applied for, and it's like, oh, you know, I worked so hard for that. Yes, but the truth is my next thought is well, God's got a reason why that person got it. Their need may be bigger than ours, and then I always follow it up with, and that means something bigger and better is coming our way.
Absolutely.
And I just kind of,
and it was something that you really, really needed.
For sure.
That one would have maybe taken care of part of it.
Exactly. I mean, and you know, and I can now transition to what we've done in the last 2.5 years. I mean, so when I started, you know, we were serving about 1,100 people. Remember, I now say we serve about 2,000.
Mm-hmm.
We were doing just the food pantry, clothes closet, doing the vision, dental, and stuff, but, on a much smaller scale. Now it's transformed into, we've received grants to have a new refrigerated truck.
Mm-hmm.
You might have heard about Fresh Food Fridays.
Yeah.
Well, Fresh Food Fridays, because now we've filled up our Fridays, is now called Fresh Food for All. We were awarded a grant last year to hire somebody to expand that program in Williamson County alone. So we have 4 locations currently. We are gold, have a goal to get 4 more in 2018. We have 3 places identified. 2 of them will start in June. Probably the 3rd one will start in June. And you're just like, oh my goodness. And what that program does, excuse me, is it takes fresh produce and goes out into areas that can't get to us, because another issue is transportation.
Sure.
Not everybody can get to us. And so what we identified was that how can we get to more people that can't get to us? And in the beginning, when we were going to places like Jonestown and Lago Vista and Cedar Park and, Northwest Austin and stuff, is we were finding that 85% of those people weren't getting services from us. So we know that there's a bigger need.
Yeah. You have to get it to them.
Exactly.
Instead of them coming to you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So now we'll have 3 more alone in Williamson County.
That's
and
awesome.
So that's one program. We also received, this past year and a half, we received 2 outdoor coolers, which then helps with that fresh produce program. We also received a grant for Starbucks Feeding America.
Okay.
Now, the cool thing about that program, well, one, we got a van, another cooler van, so that helps a lot. But every night from 10 p.m. until about 3 a.m., I have drivers that go out and rescue the end of the day Starbucks food from 30 Starbucks locations. Wow. 30.
That's huge.
In January alone of 2018, guess how much pounds that was?
I can only imagine. That's
7,000 pounds. That's a lot of Starbucks food.
That's a lot of food, yeah.
But
it's really good food.
It's really good food. And, and it's expensive food.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. And it's like, and that's the other thing we talk about. It's like, if somebody has $10 and they're really struggling to put food on the table, are they going to go to Starbucks and buy a coffee and a protein bags?
Yeah.
No, they're going to go to McDonald's and spend, buy 10 $1 hamburgers.
Absolutely.
Because they can feed more people with those 10 $1 hamburgers. And so now we're providing additional food, because we're not, we're not just getting the pastries, we're getting the protein boxes, we're getting the salads, we're getting things that just at the end of the day. Yeah. And it goes out the next morning.
Absolutely.
And when I say it goes out the next morning, this is the other cool thing. So we have organizations from Meals on Wheels that will come and pick up some of that stuff to distribute, to give to their seniors. We have Mobile Loaves that comes and picks that stuff up. Nice. We have one of our volunteers that he volunteers with all of our food pantries. He goes and takes some of that to our ACC campuses.
Oh, cool.
They take it to Reveal Resource Center. They take it to Brighter Days. So if anybody volunteers at those and they see those orange bags, those come from us from Starbucks.
Nice.
That's a major gift from Starbucks, that they are feeding more of our community and providing food that they wouldn't get. You know what a treat that is for them?
Oh, it's not. Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, and it's healthy food, and they may not be eating. I mean, if they're eating McDonald's every day, they're not eating healthy. They're eating to survive.
No. Yeah, absolutely.
And this is something that, this is healthy food.
Absolutely. It is. It's absolutely amazing. And so, that's the cool thing about, the programs that have now just kind of fallen under the umbrella of Hill Country Community Ministries, again, because it goes back to, that's the other question I always get asked. What church do you work for?
Yeah.
And, because Hill Country, there's so many Hill Country, lots of things, but Hill Country Community Ministries, like I said, started 35 years ago. It started with 5 churches.
Okay.
We're now supported by over 40 churches. Wow. And we're supported by our school districts, and we're supported by businesses, small and large, and we're supported by donors. People volunteer. They do food drives, they do sock drives, they do shoe drives, they do all sorts of different drives, but they also donate money, and then they donate their time. And so we are not government funded by any means. Everything that we do is either grants or donations. And like I said, it's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool place.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So what are some of the challenges that you face?
Space.
Okay. All right. Interesting.
Yeah. My big ask this year, and it's been probably for about this past year, has been we need land and we need a building. And I actually, when I said I saw Erica Pratt with Samaritan Health just recently,
she needs the same thing.
We
had that conversation 2 weeks ago.
Well, and I just met with her at a structure 2 hours ago because they need 10,000 square feet. We need 20,000 square feet. the whole idea is there is nothing on our side of the county that can give kind of a multi-resource center.
Yeah.
There isn't. You've got Caring Place in Round Rock or in Georgetown that offers multiple services under one umbrella. Same way with Round Rock Area Serving Center. And I have visited places out in Brenham, Faith Mission, Caritas. I've visited so many other places, and some of our much larger food pantries and ones that have been around for a while typically offer multiple resources in one area. We don't have that in our county. We don't have it in Cedar Park, Leander, Northwest. We just don't have it. And so we need it. There's absolutely it. And I had a conversation recently with one of our pastors. He goes, let me get this straight. Not that he doesn't believe in what we do, because they do a lot for us. But he says, are your numbers increasing when the unemployment rate is 3%? And he said, and we're good. I mean, we're good, and we are blessed. We know that. I mean,
it's a wonderful community.
It's a wonderful community.
But there's still people that are struggling.
And this is what I shared with him. I said, I know in Leander, and I'm not sure for sure. I don't know about Cedar Park, but I know for Leander because I just heard this like 2 days ago. Leander continues to grow at 16 people a day, daily. And I said, but there's not a whole lot of jobs in Leander.
Nope.
There's no public transportation. And I said, but I will, and I said, this is the other thing, is I said, when I first moved to Texas in 1999, and I said, if you were low income or poor, where did you live? You lived in Southeast Austin.
Sure.
You can't afford to live in Southeast Austin. I couldn't live, I can't afford to live.
Or you lived way out here in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle of nowhere, absolutely.
Which is, the middle of nowhere has turned into the middle of somewhere
For
now.
sure, absolutely.
And prices have gone up. I think that's the problem, is real estate prices have gone up at a way faster clip than income has gone up. And
as soon as you said that, it just gave me goosebumps, because that kind of transitions to the big needs. So what I shared with him is, I said, what was the number one reason that people come to see us? Loss of job. I said most people are in transition. So already to date, we are at an overall 11% increase from last year in families served, but we're at a 72% increase in new people we've served. That means that there's 60% of people are not staying with us, which is good. Again, transitional. But a huge reason why we see the growth in the numbers that we're seeing is that people lose their jobs, decrease in hours. So then they have to find another job.
Sure.
And then that takes time. Then you have to,
you don't have income during that time period.
That income. But what's the underlying of all that? Like you just said, housing. And it was interesting, because earlier this week I was interviewed by Community Impact. Williamson County just signed up to be a member of the Texas Housing Authority and stuff.
Okay.
And they were asking what my opinion was on that. And I smiled and I said, well, this is the thing. I get calls every week from families that don't have a place to live. I can't pay my rent. Where am I going to go? And so I got to share a personal story, another personal experience, where my husband and I, we were very blessed. We were in our home for 16 years in Leander, Texas. And we sold at a time when it was really great. We bought some land. We sold our house. We didn't intend to move out at first, because I have a sister that's disabled. She's in a wheelchair. She lives with us. I have 2 big dogs, and I have children. So I'm kind of like, we're not going to be able to rent.
Can't really just find an apartment.
No. But crazy thing is 2 doors down from me, this house came up on the market for lease. Okay, moved in. We thought, wow, what a gift. Sold our house, started building our house. And just like with any other build, if everything could go wrong, it could go wrong, right? So I said, this is what happened to us. I said, we signed a short-term lease. We knew it would take 6 to 9 months to build. It took us over a year. From the time we sold our house to the time we moved in, it's almost a year and a half. This is what happened to us. I got an email from the property manager that my husband and I had 24 hours to make this decision. Yes. Now, we were already 8 months into the build. We knew we weren't going to be there another year, but we knew by the time our lease expired, but I had 24 hours to sign another year lease and pay $200 more a month, not sign a year lease.
With a year lease.
With a year lease, not sign the year lease and pay $350 a month, $350, or vacate in 30 days. I had 24 hours to make that decision. I was devastated. So my husband and I had taken our entire 16 years our home, the equity we took, bought the land, building our dream house to accommodate my sister in a wheelchair, my family, my grandkids. I mean, this is our future, right? We had to deplete our entire savings and our IRA because our rent went up $350 because we weren't willing to sign that year lease. We couldn't afford it.
We couldn't do it. Yeah.
We couldn't afford it. But we depleted everything that we had to do that. Fortunately, because we had sold our house and had enough equity, that we had that. But think of all the people who don't.
Yeah. Think of losing your job and then you end up in that situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. $300 more a month. Okay,
No.
$300 is
Yes.
a lot to make.
I know.
Yeah.
Or vacate in 30 days. And most people are vacating in 30 days
Sure.
because they don't have it. And so because either that's a whole nother can of worms, you know, if you think about it, is like there's no restrictions on how much people can charge a rent increase.
Sure.
There's not.
Well, but I mean, when you have, you know, and I get it from a property owner standpoint too. Hey, you get a tax bill at the end of the year that's gone up 20%.
For sure.
You got to pass it on
Absolutely.
somewhere, and that gets passed on, unfortunately, to the renter.
For
And
sure. Well, it's just this vicious cycle.
Crazy. Yeah,
it
it's
is,
crazy.
and so it's just.
And we don't have as much up here. We don't have as much housing.
No.
Or we don't have as much apartments and all
No.
that too.
We don't, and that's the thing is we actually. So beyond just food, what is the biggest problem? And of course for us, so we serve, like I said, 2,000 people, and our food pantry alone is only about 1,000 square feet.
Okay.
Just so you know. Yes. Like our entire
wonder you need 30,000 square feet.
I know, it's crazy. We're still in the same structure we were in 25 years ago. I mean, if you've ever been there, I always say, you know, it's kind of held together by tape and, you know, and
Duct tape and baling wire.
Yep, absolutely. But we love it. It's our little, you know, I say we're
little
small.
place in the
Yeah,
world.
where it's like we're small but mighty, but yes, we need a much larger space.
Yeah.
And so, but the other part of that too is transitional housing.
Yeah.
There's no, it is just, and there's nothing in Williams County. As a man, if you said to me, Tiesa, you know, I'm single, it's me by myself, and I need a place to stay, I can send you down in Austin to the shelter.
Yeah.
I'm not going to send a family there. I'm not going to send a single mother with children there.
No.
We have people in Cedar Park and in Leander that are living out of their cars because they don't have anywhere to go. And it's so disheartening, and we don't have anywhere to send them.
Yeah.
You know, so that's kind of the beyond just food. Food's basic, but beyond that, it's the housing. There's a huge housing problem, and it's just sad. It's so sad. It's you know, I've been down to that Community-First village. Have you been down there yet?
I've not. Yeah.
Oh my goodness! I keep saying we need a Community-First village, and you know, and just mainly because of what it represents. It has job training. It has ways for people to earn income and affordable living and bringing the community together. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
So I always keep saying we need that up here, but we need something in Williamson County, excuse me, that will allow somewhere for somebody to stay, get a hot meal, you know, get maybe some job training if needed, be able to transition out. There's nothing like that, and there's such a need for it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, but I also think too, it's you know, people think, oh, it's going to be this homeless village. No, that's not the idea.
Well, that's why my last.
Meant to be transitional.
It's meant to be transitional.
Just, okay, let's give them a little bit of support and then let them go. Yeah.
I say that there will always be a 15 to 20% of our population that will lie, cheat, manipulate the system.
Yep.
I have an aunt that was on welfare her entire life.
Yeah.
Didn't want to work, didn't need to work, was able to
game the system.
The system. And and beyond that, it was like, and I see that a lot unfortunately I've seen it. I've seen it my entire life. And the challenge with that is that you can try to put things in place to protect that, to try to fix it. The truth is, it's been going on for so long, you can't.
Yeah.
They'll just find a different way. So let's figure out how to, the people that come see us, that 80 to 85% of the people that need that help, nobody wants to come see us.
Yeah.
It's humbling to go in and ask, but when I talk to these people and stuff, nobody really wants to come.
Yeah.
They're grateful we're there,
Sure.
But I'm sure most people would much rather be able to pay their bills, have a place to stay, keep their lights on.
Not have to worry about,
and
not have to worry about,
food.
can I feed my family
Absolutely. Or not? You know, one of our, Jen, who's our food program manager for that Rethink Hunger program, she did a survey for those people that are receiving fresh food. She surveyed 150 families, and it was fantastic results. I loved the question she asked. You know, she was like, you know, it's like nice little pie graph charts, but you know, like how far did you drive here? Where do you get your food mostly? You know, different things. But what I loved is on the very back, she had probably about 10 to 15 questions of really just questions about why are you here?
Yeah.
And it's interesting. It's kind of like, how many of you have skipped meals because you didn't have enough in your refrigerator? How many of you were afraid that you would run out of food before the end of the month?
Yeah.
How many of you have sold things to buy groceries to put food? I mean, across the board. And I was just like, wow.
Yeah.
And again, I was that person. But to see it today in this amazing community that we live in, you know, but to see it, you know, 25 years later for me, you know, 30 years later, whatever, wow.
Yeah.
It was
and it's your opportunity to give back.
Exactly.
You know,
well, and that's why I'm so passionate about trying to find solutions. You know, fresh food programs started because we were told, oh, we're not adding any more mobile pantries at this time. We're not adding any more fresh food families, you know, at this time, you know. So my thought, and again, that comes to sales though. I mean, my husband tells me all the time, he's like, you just hate it when people tell you no.
That's
I'm
it.
like, well,
I survived for 25 years in sales. Give me a break.
Well, and the truth is who likes to be told no? Nobody likes to be told no.
Nobody likes to be told no.
But what I got to learn from this is the great thing about working for corporate America and the sales and stuff, is they dump so much money into you to train you, to find solutions, presentations, really just to find the answers.
Yeah.
So I'm very solution-based driven.
Well, and the best salespeople are.
Right.
The best salespeople are just problem solvers.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, that's what we do.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, let me figure this out.
Yeah. So when Central Texas Food Bank initially said, no, we're not adding more questions, we just aren't adding more locations, I said, what if we started over? They said, great. How can we help you?
Okay.
Yeah. And they're like, how can we help you? And I said, well, what do I need? They said, you need a refrigerated truck. And so through a generous donation and a grant, we had a refrigerated truck.
Yeah.
Hence how Fresh Food Friday started. And then as we continue to expand the different things, you know, when Central Texas Food Bank said, hey, we're wanting to start this pilot program, Starbucks Feeding America. They've been doing it on the West Coast. What do you think about this? And I said yes. And then all of a sudden, now we're rescuing 7,000 pounds of food in a month.
It would have been in the trash.
Exactly. And now we're getting to work with Mobile Loaves and Meals on Wheels and our Senior Center and ACC and Reveal and Brighter Days. And we're working with all these organizations. They're coming to us to be able to distribute some more of that food. And it's like, how cool is that?
Yeah. So you've solved the problem of, okay, we've only got so much space, but if we can pair up all the different organizations, they've got space. This is how we do this.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because we don't have any space. We're busted out of the seams. So so we need the biggest challenge, I know for us personally, the biggest challenge is the space. We need a center that will just house both Eric and I, not just Erica and I, though, you know, Wick and Snap, and just where somebody can come, because I know they've held the same thing, and among everybody else is when people come see us, and I have to send them out the door to go to another facility.
And they may have just spent their money to get to you.
It's exactly it.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I hear that.
Yeah.
This is my last tank of gas.
Yeah.
And it just breaks my heart because we don't do any financial assistance.
Okay.
That's the one thing we don't do, is we don't do any financial, and so I have to reach out to all my resources, you know, and it's hard. It is hard. It's hard to turn a family away. It's hard to say no. And I really spend a lot of time trying to drudge up who can I put them in touch with quickly.
And they can handle that need. Okay, I got to fix that problem and that problem.
Absolutely.
Well, so if there is somebody out there
with land,
who has a lot of land, who would be willing to help out, we would love for you to get in contact with Tiesa.
Absolutely.
How would they get a hold of you?
So you can get a hold of me at the agency at 512-259-0360. And then also our website. We just rebranded this past year. Got a new website, hccm.org. hccm.org, and there's ways there that you can volunteer. We have 150 regular volunteers. You don't have to just do the food pantry. You can do case management, which is basically relationship building, which I love. Thrift store, you can go pick up food. You can do fresh food for Fridays. You can help with Starbucks. There's so many ways that you can help with laces coming up. If you like shoes, I love shoes. So there's ways. You'll have your ways to give back on the volunteer. Of course, donate. Again, we are completely grant and donations. We don't get any government funding at all. We rely heavily on the generous people of our community, and then excuse me, and then we're starting to ramp up our events and stuff. So all the things that we're doing, this past Easter we did our Hams for Hope and distributed 500 hams out into the community, so people have hams for Easter. So there's always, we try to keep that it gets monthly updated. We have a fabulous volunteer that helps us with that. His name's Eddie. Hi Eddie, if you're watching. But you just have to give a plug to everybody, because there's 3 of us that work there. That's it. And you're serving 2,000 people, and you're doing all these different programs.
You got a lot of volunteers.
We have a lot of volunteers. We have amazing volunteers and community partners. Yeah. When people can share the word and spread the word of how to get involved, this may not be a good fit for us, but it may be, again, maybe you are passionate about. I have a lot of friends that are nurses. And when I tell them about Samaritan Health, they're like, "Oh my gosh!"
Yeah, this is a skill I have.
Absolutely,
use it, yeah.
We can't use it in here because I've had people say, "Can you use nurses?" I'm like, "No, but I know somebody you can." So but that's how people can get a hold of us.
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, very good. Thank you for what you do.
Thank you, Jeff.
I see the sparkle in your eye.
Thank
when
you.
you talk about it.
Yeah.
So you got rid of that. I hate my job, and found what you were planning, or what you were there designed for. So thank you for what you do.
Thank you.
Of course, wherever we can help, we want to help.
Thank you. Well,
So
thank you for
so
sharing the
much.
message. I appreciate it. I appreciate what you're doing in our community, because you're right. The more we can spread the word about what people can do.
And people learn how all these organizations are connected together, and it's like, okay, I can support everybody.
I'll end with this. I had a conversation with somebody a couple of years ago, and it was somebody new to our community, and they couldn't support us. And I said, "Well, you can't support us." And they said, "Well, you're a religious organization." I'm like, "But we're not." And they said, "Well, you have the word ministries in your name." And I said,
Big
"Do
deal.
you?" Well, but I said, "Do you know what ministries means?"
Yeah.
And she got real quiet, and I said, "Ministries means helping those in need." Community ministries, our community helping those in need. But this is what I did. I followed up. They didn't support us. That's okay. But I followed up with an email thanking her for her time. And I said, and this is why. And this is what I told her. And I'll go back to how I started this. I said, you may not be able to support us, but you may know somebody who's lost a job, who has gotten a divorce or lost a spouse. I said, who's come to a medical crisis or some crisis in their life where they've lost their home or something. I said, and I want you to know that we're here to serve them and help you to be able to provide a resource. Yeah. That is what my job is. And that's what you're doing with all of these. So thank you so much.
So
I appreciate it. Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, they're a wonderful organization and have been around a long time. If you can support, please reach out to them. Like I said, there's somebody out there that's got some land. I have 2 amazing organizations. You met Erica a couple weeks ago, who I will do anything for, and this lady too, who really need your help. So if you know of, have anybody that is looking to maybe donate, it would be wonderful. Please reach out to them and see what you can do to help out. Well, thank you all. Right down below, here's the subscription button. If you don't subscribe, you're not going to know what's going on. All of her contact information is going to be right down below me as well. Make sure that you reach out to them and help however you can. And thanks a lot, and we'll see you back here next week.
Thank you.